Hello and welcome to Ultra Q 15. My name is Red. I am joined by Mel.
I just want on record that 2 weeks ago we joked about the Microsoft Activision buyout not going through, and then before the episode came out, it got blocked.
Yeah, we got Peter on standby. I'm also joined by Razin.
Hi, I'm Razin. You know what's cooler than a space rock? 2 space rocks.
Hell yeah. Coming up, we've got the survivors of Ultraman's greatest crime. An encounter with the Gogeta of space rocks, and the origin of one of our classic guys. But first, because everything's normal for me again, I watched 2 anime. Well, I finished one anime, and I watched the other in its entirety. Which do you want to hear about first? Do you want to hear about Princess Principal or K-On?
Let's do K-On first.
Sure,
all right.
That's the classic.
That's the classic. I was filling in gaps in my weeb knowledge. I'd seen season 1. I'd seen started season 2, and I was just like, I'm just gonna. This is just on my hard drive. I'm just gonna watch it. Just right now, I'm just gonna watch all of it. And then, I'll get to the OVAs and the movie later. So I watched all of season 2 of K-On! I then immediately watched the extra episodes and the OVA. I then immediately watched the little shorts that are on the DVD or whatever, the Blu-ray. And then also immediately watched the movie. And then also, and this one was maybe like the one mistake, was I did then read the follow-up manga of the K-On! College, which is about the 4 of them going off to college, and then K-On! High School, which is about Azusa's 3rd year. I should have just left that up to my imagination. It's just not that good. It's just kind of nothing. There's a reason people watch the anime. K-On! Was good. I was posting about how, sometimes you're watching a 7 out of 10 show, and then it ends really well, and you're like, well, for 5 minutes, your brain fully believes that this is the best thing you've ever seen in your life. And that's kind of what happened with K-On! There for a bit. It was really good. Something someone said to me set off alarm bells, and I was like, okay, I have to look this up, because they said that it's a shame that Azusa showed up and ruined all the group dynamics in K-On!, and I was like, that was said with the confidence of consensus. I have to find out if this is a popular opinion, because it can't be. Surely not. And it was, and I was really confused, because I don't know how you can be like a big K-On! Fan if you don't like the one character that is like, this is the whole stakes of the show. It's so weird. She's D'Artagnan. She's like, all of the rest of them are gonna go off at the end, and she's gonna be on her own, and that's the whole thing. The inevitability of that is the whole of season 2. That's what K-On! Is about. That's weird. I don't understand thinking that Azusa sucks. I think she's the best part of the show.
Are you telling me that it's possible for the wider fandom to have incorrect readings of the show?
I would never imply something. Yes. I think many people are just wrong about this one thing. And I watched the movie. I liked that the movie kind of just included the ending again, because I was like, okay, that saves me loading up that episode to cap off the end of all of this again, because I was gonna have to watch it immediately afterwards. So that was good. Yeah, I thought K-On! Was good. I got away with the post about the 7 out of 10 turning to be the best show in the world, though, in which I included the original Gundam. Which is, that's a pretty good anime. And then it, there's a headshot, and there's a kid who saves all his friends.
NFL theme.
Yes. It's the greatest thing in anime. But yeah, that's K-On! It's people. I rocked up very late to this. Yeah. The anime with maybe more to talk about, but I'll talk about it less probably, is Princess Principal. Which is, appropriate given that Okochi's Gundam is happening right now. That's like his last show of that I can think of that's like got like a significant reputation of any kind. It happened in like 2017 or something.
Yeah, I watched it like around 2018, so
Mhm.
a lifetime ago.
Yes. That is 5 years. That is a very long time.
Also pre-pandemic, which means the world was just I separate history into two halves.
And you can separate history in Princess Principle into two halves: before the wall and after the wall.
Wow, just like a real life.
Okay, Razin, you don't know what Princess Principle is, I'm guessing.
No.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you right now. So, Code Geass writer, using an element called, what is it, Cavorite? Britain creates an air fleet, and takes over the world and becomes the biggest empire.
Having the knowledge that this is the Code Geass writer adds a lot of context for me.
Then there is a revolution, and the empire is divided into east and west. And in London, they erect a Berlin Wall.
Okay.
And Princess Principle is about the secret war between spies, covering like defections between the sides in London.
The monarchy and the not monarchy.
The monarchy and the not monarchy. And Princess Principle follows a cell that is undercover on the monarchy side of the wall. It gets way more big brain genius about this when it introduces why the main character is actually over there. But it's good. It's Okochi, big fan of Turn A Gundam.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
It's so funny. Yeah. There's it hit me with like, there's just like a lot of good episodes, just good episodes of television in this show. It's just like cool spy shit done at like all girls school, undercover stuff, and then like they're off shooting people. They've all got like their each unique thing that they can do that they're good at. Like one of them's the driver, and you know, a main girl is like Arsène Lupin. One
of them is Ishikawa Goemon. 13.
Yes, she's the best one, is the thing. She's the best one. I had like watched what I thought were like 2 bad episodes in a row, and then the immediate next episode was about her trying to get used to living in Britain, and it included a scene of her playing cricket by using a cricket bat like it was a katana. I was like, this is the greatest anime I've ever seen in my life. It was fantastic. I would say I'm not like super high on like the ending. I think it's just kind of all right. I would just want like kind of normal like heist stuff. But
I forget a lot of the ending, to be honest.
It manages to. It's like doing like, because Okochi is he's an ML, by which I mean he's a monarchist liberal. There's like the loopholes that are jumped through in like 2 or 3 lines towards the end there to make it's so good. It's like very, very, very on brand for him. I was a big fan. I was like kind of like, this seems kind of cringe, and then like pulls out a couple of lines where I was like, this fucking bangs, this is so good. But there's like a lot of the liberalism is concentrated into an episode where they buy a factory that isn't very good, because it's all about they continuous improvement it. They hit it with continuous improvement until it's good, until it works. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is a bad episode of TV. And then there was just some poorly thought out backstory for the driver that I was just like, it's like abusive dad stuff, but it's not like. I don't even dislike it because it's like exploitative or anything. I was just like, I don't care about any of this. I just think this is kind of extremely haphazard. But otherwise, I think that show slaps. I think it's really good.
I think I might check out Valve Rave soon.
I don't
I hear
think
that's the one you shouldn't.
I don't.
Yeah,
know.
I am too curious, but I know bad things are. Listen, the internet made me believe that Cross-Ange was not worth my time for the longest time, and then that went well. People have turned around on it in our circles.
I don't know that they've turned around on it, but certainly, apparently, it's worth watching.
Yeah, maybe Valve Rave is. Okay. I'm not saying this unironic. I have a feeling Valve Rave just sucks, but
I was there. I watched it while I was airing. Season 1 is stupid complimentary. Season 2 is stupid derogatory. I hate myself.
Damn.
I still like looking because I decided to look at his body of work again. First of all, I always forget that this motherfucker's also working on Spy Family Season 2.
That's like.
Also,
I mean, the thing about that is that's an adaptation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm not here. I was saying, oh man, the writer for Time Ranger and Ryuki, I can't believe she's on JoJo. Like it's adaptation.
Yeah,
So
it is
count.
different. I still think it's incredibly funny in like his recent body of work, Devilman Crybaby is also in there too. Which again,
Nice.
while an adaptation, has a lot more original elements to it too.
I have just looked at a map of the geopolitical status of the world during the era of Valve Rave the Liberator. This is the most ridiculous image I've seen in a while.
Tell me if you heard this before. The world is split into 3 factions, but also there's a smaller neutral faction.
Holy shit.
Wow, God.
That coincidentally
Wild.
lines up with Japan.
I was about to say, let me guess where that neutral smaller part is.
Have you guys considered what if Russia and Germany were the same faction for some reason?
Oh my God. It's perfect.
Sounds like that Valve Rave got a lot of liberating to do.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Princess Principal's other factor is just what if the relationship between two girls could be as complicated as you could possibly make it? Just excellent, fantastic, very good.
They call it Yuri.
Well, yes. It's very good.
Yeah, I remember liking it. I don't remember much about it though. I did watch the one movie they made, and I was like, I don't know about this. I'm also incredibly detached from the show, so I think I'm going to be like, I'm just going to wait until all the movies are out and maybe watch it, because like last year I went through a rewatch it and like watch a future like Girls and Panda stuff, and it's doing the same thing of like, hey, we're doing the 6 movie thing across like 10 years. I'm like, oh, this sucks. And then like season movie the 3 of that ends on like an abysmal cliffhanger, and it's just like, well, I gotta wait for the next one, so you know.
I'm getting real sick of that. Like, I
It's
feel
the same
like if
studio
you have
even.
a movie series lined up, you gotta do like the unicorn like OVA thing where it's like, make sure you're getting out like one a year, you know?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's very
I'm
silly.
dying out here waiting for Hathaway too.
I need it. I need it urgently. I need Gauman in my life again.
Same.
Yeah, halfway.
Tomino shows are outstanding, dangerous women and guys that have 10 lines. Lieutenant Gomez.
Technically speaking, Hathaway's only half Tomino. But
His presence looms large over that adaptation, though.
Does a lot more than fucking Unicorn.
Oh man, the the relationship between anyway, I'm not going to talk about Hathaway. The main relationship between him and girls in that movie is so weird. It's so funny.
Yeah.
I mean, have you seen his first girlfriend?
Yes. More power to her. She's great. Big fan. But yeah, I have not done anything else. That's me.
I've done a few things that I don't have a lot to say of substance, but I can just go through them real fast. So on Thursdays, I have a weekly RPG gaming session of Pathfinder Kingmaker. More specifically, so Kingmaker, many people probably know it as a video game. It is a adaptation of the original big campaign for Pathfinder, Kingmaker, which is about you and your party basically being sent out by a nation to go reclaim some wild, unclaimed lands that are in this politically precarious situation where people are trying to, stake claims. And then you, make a kingdom, you go out and do the adventuring RPG thing, but there's also, a civilization-esque kingdom building, subsystem on top of everything. A lot of people have fond memories of this, but also the first go at it was filled to the brim with problems and was kind of polarizing, I think, in execution. The video game, in the process of adapting it to, a computer RPG, ended up changing quite a few things, expanding certain plots and stuff like that. So now, doing the Pathfinder 2nd Edition reprint, I guess you want to call it, of this adventure, they have added stuff from the video game back into the tabletop game and completely revamped how the kingdom management stuff runs. So we've been doing that. I actually am not here to talk about this, though, because we ended up not having enough players to run last Thursday. So my GM Liz decided to run a game called Fist, which is a Metal Gear Solid, A-Team, and Doom Patrol inspired quick narrative game that it's not really powered by the apocalypse, but it's definitely adjacent to that line of design. It's just a fun time. Basically, there's a organization called Fist that does wild Metal Gear style missions in an alternate universe, supernatural Cold War setting. There's another another organization called Cyclops that Fist is kind of friendly, or it's weird, they're not really friends, but they're not really enemies. They're just another organization doing weird shit in the middle of the Cold War trying to make money. So there's a lot of wiggle room here just to make fun little wild adventures. Part of the enjoyment for me of this is that it is a system that characters are very loosely defined, mechanically, and this is done so that if someone dies, you just roll up a new guy and they basically parachute in right away.
Okay.
That's very fun.
It's very fun.
It's like the inverse of Peace Walker, where you just parachute the guy and he floats away to your base.
Yes. So pretty much how characters work in this is you don't even necessarily roll for stats. You roll for 2 traits and a roll, and those determine your stat modifiers for when you need to do rolls and stuff. You can either roll on a huge table for these, or you can pick them, but we thought it'd be more fun just to roll. So I ended up with a dude in power armor that was immune to toxins. And his role was that he is a chess master that was trying to gain absolute power to achieve a goal, and I decided the goal was just the Lelouch thing of I'm going to unite the Soviet Union and the Americans by becoming the ultimate villain. Oh God. None of this came to fruition in this mission. We just snuck around a place. We had to both destroy evidence of one guy's defection and then also take out a guy, an important political figure. And we decided to kill 2 birds with 1 stone by sneaking around air vents and laying explosives everywhere. And blew everything up and had a good time. I highly recommend Fist. It's available on itch.io. It has a lot of really cool random tables and tools to create your own Metal Gear style like campaign thing, and it's just even a fun game to give to your players like an hour before you would start, playing the game or whatever, and just run it. It's very good for that. It's very rules light in a way that I found very enjoyable, and the flavor is pretty strong.
If 5 years, because itch doesn't have a great way of like finding what games you own. If 5 years ago you bought, not 5 years ago, if for $5 a few years ago you bought the bundle for racial justice and equality, you own this game.
Oh, I own this game then. I also didn't realize that.
I realized
I was just
looking just now.
I definitely own this then. I just have the PDF from my friend, so yeah, that's cool. So yeah, highly recommend that. On the video game side of things, I played a little bit of the new fighting game making waves in the scene.
Oh no.
Idle Showdown.
Okay, is it cringe or is it good?
Both. Well, okay.
Ah, shit.
It's cringe and okay.
Okay.
I think I am more down on this than practically everyone I've talked to or have seen talk about this. And I think part of that is because the two characters of the roster that's there, the two characters that I had the most interest in checking out were Botan and Korone. I don't really like how Botan plays at all, and Korone's alright. I started to have more fun, though, when I switched to Ayame, who's a streamer I don't watch, but she uses a sword, and I like her moveset. It's a little more simple compared to the others. The game is about as jank as you would expect, like a fan project for a bunch of virtual influencers would be. That being said, online runs pretty smooth. It's just like the actual like part of it where like you're doing moves and like hitting people and trying to string together combos and stuff like that. It just feels slightly off to me in a way that I'm just kind of like I don't know if this feels how I want it to. But like the game's all right, and again, it's fucking free. So like any complaints I have about this, I can't really be like, oh, how dare you? It's just kind of like, I might spend some time playing this with friends for a little bit, but I don't really think it's going to be like a long-term thing I stick with. But it's cool that it exists, I guess.
With all due respect to the people who made it and the effort that they put into it, I think it's too. I just looking at it, it's too meme heavy. I don't know. I think you should like the Ayame stuff where it's like she has swords and so she uses swords and that's her thing, and then like she's got like the one reference super, which is the she got the funny clone things. That's fine. That's fine, and I feel like I'm drawing lines arbitrarily, but they feel very real to me. Where I look at like Korone's like X potato soup, and I'm like, shut the fuck up.
The one that I kind of feel weird about, and it just feels like this game draws the line of feeling very Mugen-y at times, where like one of Korone's like anti-air moves or whatever, she just turns into like an 8-bit Mario, like reskin and like punches up or whatever, like doing the little iconic Mario jump or whatever. And I'm like, I don't know, I don't need that stuff, but
I downloaded this game and I still need to play it. Not because I actually watch VTubers, but solely because my local scene is doing a tournament in 3 days, less than a week after launch, because it'd be funny, and I also think it'd be funny.
It would be funny. My girl Fauna is sadly limited to being a background cameo in a menu, but you know.
Yeah, there's no EN girls in it yet, other than in the assists.
Yeah.
They should put a Kizuna in. They shouldn't do that.
That'd be funny.
There's like apparently a Kizuna anime airing this season.
The moment has passed.
I was about to say for who.
I saw the first episode with some friends because they were just streaming it for fun, and I was just like, "This is the most bizarre thing I've ever seen." Just oh no, I'm gonna be late for class. Goes into an empty auditorium and puts on a VR glasses. VR glasses.
This is the future. This is the metaverse.
It is ridiculous.
Well, they put Suisse in the game, so I should probably play it a little bit.
Yeah, my friend Jake was playing her and kicking my ass. She's good.
She's got like music themed stuff, which means that they haven't gone all in on memes with her, which is a blessing to me. So that's good.
And then I have one more thing. You know, sometimes you're down on life and you feel like you can be accomplishing more, and, you know, sometimes you just have a stray thought, like, what if a master tactician from many years ago was resurrected to give me guidance in life?
Yo!
So me and my friends started watching your Boy Kongming.
Oh, hello!
Okay, so first of all, before you start talking about this, I realize it's weird to be like, don't spoil actual history, but I don't know enough about Chinese history to know how the book ends. And I think, I suspect that your Boy Kongming does tell you how that book
It does
ends.
in the opening scene.
But yes, I have got to, I have seen Kongming's ultimate fate, at least. But I have not seen much beyond.
Unfortunately, I haven't read Three Kingdoms past when I last brought it up on the podcast, but soon, hopefully.
I am very near the end.
Anyway.
It's very funny watching this, having almost nothing but like the basics of an understanding of Three Kingdoms.
I mean, that was me when I watched it last year too. It's kind of like the inspiration for me to actually start reading the book, even though I wanted to for like a long time anyway. But yes, continue.
How's Kongming?
It's a lot of fun. I mean, the joke really is just like, the joke is mostly just he's super fucking smart and suddenly into like this pop star who he really wants to support because he thinks she's a great singer. So he uses all of his tactical prowess to come up with the most insane plans to make sure that she always comes out on top. And 3 episodes in, the joke is still strong. My one complaint that I did say to a friend who has seen the show is that for a show that's about musicians competing for like fame and like getting good deals and all that sort of thing, like this is all like a bunch of like low-level musicians that like maybe have local popularity trying to basically get more popular, like rise to stardom sort of thing. Mm. And our main character is like practically a nobody. One of the first few victories she gets is, she has a really good show, and suddenly she has over 1,000 Twitter followers now.
Sounds miserable. I do not wish for this.
Sometimes it's miserable. But my one complaint I had is, for a show about musicians, I didn't actually think that a lot of the songs they play in the show being performed by the characters were, like, they're all right, but they weren't, like, amazing. But, like, the opening and ending of the show are both pretty good, and I was like, I think it's kind of a shame for a show about music. I think the OP and the ED are the best songs. And one of my friends did say as the show goes on, the music does become a little bit more of a focus, and those songs are better, so I'm looking forward to that, but... yeah, it's fun seeing this young, like, pop star girl just kind of be like, oh damn, nobody wants to listen to my shit. And then Kongming's like, I switched the signs in this room so that people would like hover around this area and then be drawn to your performance, and like just wild machinations.
He's like, this is exactly like the Battle of Red Cliffs. I don't think it is, but this is what they're saying.
Or the other one, which is, I looked up the... Like, they go to... There's some, like, music festival thing, and they get the shittiest location possible. And the walkway they're on, right before the girl, Aiko is the main character's name, right before her tent or whatever thing that she's performing out of is this big indie rock band that's pretty popular. But then he looks them up and he's like, oh, I know that they don't perform their most popular song midday twice in a row because it's really hard on the lead vocalist's voice. And they have a bigger show tomorrow. So they're not going to play their most popular song, and if we pretend our equipment doesn't work, they're going to think that they can just phone it in. But then we're gonna steal the show by actually having our equipment work and having her play her best, making them look like fools. Like it's just really fucking good.
This is just what the Romance of the Three Kingdoms is. This is just how it goes.
It is funny. In episode 1, Kongming does acclimatize really quickly to the fact he's in 2022. He's just like, oh hey, I read my wiki page.
Yes,
that's so funny.
Yeah, he finds out what happens through the rest of history by reading Wikipedia. It's so funny.
He gets hired at Aiko's club because the manager there just happens to be really, really into Three Kingdoms. And he's just like, oh, hey, someone I can be a nerd with. And he's just like, dang, Kongming, who are you? And it's like, well, he told you he is Kongming.
I do also appreciate how, for the first 5 minutes of the show, Kongming's like, I'm in hell. This is hell.
He's like,
I have been sent to hell.
He's like, I wish I could be born in a world with no wars. Wakes up in modern Japan.
Oh no, don't make me make Kongming watch Patlabor 2. Oh man.
But yeah, I should really read Three Kingdoms at some point.
Yeah, I need to get back to it.
It's really, really good. It's like it had a lull for a bit there. There was a little bit where Kongming wasn't actually that cool. And then some other characters showed up that made him cool again. So Kongming's great. Love Kongming.
I still need to get to him. I think I'm like 10 chapters away from when he shows up.
Just remember,
he shows up so good.
There's another joke in there that I'm just remembering now, but when dealing with that like indie rock boy band or whatever, he ends up like basically telling them how I can't remember what exactly he said, but he's like, oh, if you didn't want to lose, I simply would have performed better or something like that. And someone goes like, wasn't that a little harsh? And he's like, listen, if this was in the past, all of their heads would be like on a table right now. Like, it's very funny.
I remember when I watched it, I was like, damn, that's harsh. And then I read the book, I was like, nah, these people are just like given heads as presents sometimes.
If I fail, I will abide. I will submit to martial law, and then I fail, and it's like, well, I mean, I guess you have to cut off my head now. Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching that. I'm also looking forward to playing the Three Kingdoms Total War game. Basically, I'm just like,
I'm looking
once
forward
I'm
to
done
playing
with
Dynasty
this book,
Warriors.
Oh yeah. I've got so much ahead of me when I'm done with this book.
I did think it, speaking of that Total War game, I do think it's very funny because just out of my own personal obligation, I was like, okay, I need to look up a pronunciation guide because I'm sure I'm saying a bunch of these names like wrong that were just appearing in the show. And the number one post I found. No, it won't. So I looked it up, and the number one post was from the Total War subreddit from a dude like, okay, listen, I know a lot of streamers don't know how to pronounce these names, but I need to write a guide because you people are driving me fucking nuts. Not all heroes wear capes.
Yeah, the classic one was Dynasty Warriors, just getting it wrong.
Cow.
Yeah. Classic.
Yeah.
Alright. Well, Mel, what have you been up to?
Somehow, a lot.
Go for it.
Okay, so, Sentai Segue continues. I don't have much to update on that, because that's happened in the background, don't worry.
Are we allowed to know what show it is yet?
No. And also,
Okay.
there was a mix-up, but I'll get more on that later.
You know what? Here's the thing. If you said what show it was, I wouldn't even know what it is. So
that's
I don't know why I asked.
too.
Yeah. So I'll get into more details of like what the show is later or the mix-ups because things happen like group watches or whatever. Anyway, don't worry about it.
Okay.
However, on the subject of Sentai, I have watched beyond episode 1 of, and then subsequently very quickly caught up on Ohsama Sentai KingOhger.
Oh, the new one.
The currently airing one. Translator note, that translates to King Sentai KingOhger.
So anti-monarchy then.
I'm sure you're all about that right now, right?
There was a party on my street earlier. I just very quietly avoided.
So took me a few episodes to get into it. But yeah, this is the currently airing Sentai. They're doing some interesting things. One, they're stealing Kamen Rider shit by making it bug themed.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's set in a fantasy world, explicitly not Earth, which is cool.
That's neat.
Because
have they done that before? That seems like a big departure.
It is a big departure.
Isekai?
No, it's not Isekai.
Oh, let's go.
Cool. Earlier this year, I finished Q Ranger, and that is a spacefaring show. But also for the first for a significant portion of the first half of the show, they're also just they go to Earth and spend a lot of time on Earth, and that was one of the reasons I fell off the show a bit because I felt like it was like, damn, you had a premise and then you sold it out to just be on Earth anyway. And then I came back to the show and really enjoyed it. But then just going for it and being like, this is a fake fantasy world is cool. It is a bit hit or miss in execution in that they're using kind of like heavy use of green screen to do the different locations. Which doesn't always look great, but also I'm kind of like, well, if this is what it takes to just like have cool, unique settings, then I'm here for it. So basically, it's about like there's like 5 kingdoms. First, you have the Red Rangers Kingdom, which is generic. European.
They're all kings.
Yes, they're all kings. The generic, fantasy European walled city one, ruled by Raklis, who's like beloved. He's the cool king, except he extremely sucks. He's absolutely the worst person. The monster's coming and he's like, I'm gonna let the other kings die and then I can take over and conquer the kingdoms. So he's not the actual Red Ranger. The actual Red Ranger is like this guy called Gira, who's just like, hanging out with the poor people, and he's like, Reckless, if this is your justice, then I will be the evil tyrant king who conquers and be an actual nice person. The other kingdoms, you have Yanma, the Blue Ranger of the kingdom that's the high-tech kingdom. That's all. Everyone there is, for whatever reason, delinquent, and also they're all gamers.
Okay, I'm going to the gamer kingdom. See ya.
He's like, his backstory is he grew up in like the slums and eventually climbed the rank to become president. He insists that he's the president. They have hackling battles.
God.
He, it's like the high tech kingdom. Then you have Himeno, the yellow ranger. Her kingdom is like the kingdom of flowers and stuff like that. Her thing is that she's extremely ridiculously selfish. Like she just blows up someone's house because it's in the middle of a field, and she's like, "Damn, I want the field to look nice." But she's also a doctor, and she heals people. She has a butler named Sebastian, who's like an old guy, except he reveals, actually, I'm only 25. This is makeup. Sebastian's not my real name. She just wanted me to commit to the butler bit. Really,
she wanted an old butler.
Then you have the one I stan, the goat, Rita, the Purple Ranger, gender neutral, non-binary, so it's pretty cool.
I have been hearing buzz about this.
Their kingdoms about ice and also prison. because she's the cop of the team, who's just like, I'm the neutral arbiter of justice. They go around like, basically they have like a prison kingdom, and they're like arresting people and putting on trial. Kingdom? Yes.
He spat out my drink.
Finally, you have the Black Ranger Kingdom. The Black Ranger, whose name is Kaguragi Debowski.
Interesting.
His kingdom's theme is Japan.
Oh.
He's also fun because his personality is like he's like the big lovable friendly goofball guy, except he's actually a real bastard. He's lying all the time. He's scheming. He's like, oopsie, I may have accidentally gave him the wrong poison. Oops. Does the cop anime girl gif while camera pans away, and he's just like giving an evil smirk. It's like, oh, you fucker. Incredibly entertaining cast. And yeah, it's all about right now. Gira's like a fugitive who's like liked by the other kings because Reckless does extremely suck, but Reckless is extremely popular within his own kingdom. To point out, there's this recurring character who's just like a guy who's just like absolutely drinking the sauce with their propaganda. He does pay for Twitter.
No.
I think Reckless and Gira should get together and rank the heroes of the age.
Yeah, one day they will. Probably. Apparently, they haven't appeared yet, but the Sixth Ranger is like a spider-themed ranger called Jeremy, who is also the narrator.
Oh my god!
I just think it's funny. His name is Jeremy.
That is
not the funniest white person name that we're going to be talking about on this week's episode.
But yeah, so far it's been interesting because like they're obviously like Sentai suits. Let me give you have you seen the suits yet?
No.
Yes, I have.
I feel like
I have not.
Yeah, I'm just gonna look in the chat. They're obviously like it's obviously a Sentai show. But like they're doing a lot because they're not a team yet, and they're acting pretty individually. They're just like 5 kings.
God, I love this fucking Lego theme park they're standing behind.
Yeah. Yeah, they got cool capes on their shoulder. I love the cape on the shoulder look in general.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a vibe. It reminds you a bit sometimes of like a writer where like they're obviously all meant of like a similar power set, and that's why they have a similar look to them. But like they're also more acting individually, or they have similar goals and aren't necessarily a team yet. It's going to be working towards that. Notably, like KingOhger is the name of the robot and not the team. Yeah. Also notes Reckless, can't turn into Red Ranger, which is like a big, oh no, why can't I turn into it? But he does, like, a few episodes in, become like a silver palette swap, and it's a cool duel. But yeah.
That's cool. I could just start watching the show, because there's not that many episodes in.
Yeah, it's like, I think like episode 10 just aired. You can catch up.
Yeah.
And then get to Dawn Brothers.
Because
I still need to watch Dawn Brothers.
I'll tell myself that it's like a sort of like a separate Marxist appreciation for interest in feudal things, but there might just be some kernel of being British in me that is like, what if kings were cool?
I just feel like the ideology of the show is that tweet that Jackson made about talking to the therapist about the monarchy.
Yes.
But yeah, I was, after the first episode I wasn't sure how I was feeling, but like a few episodes in I was like, oh yeah, I'm sold. I like the cast, I like what they're doing. It's like it does feel like Sentai recently has been like really fresh in like a lot of the recent seasons, and it's been cool, and it does make me feel like I'm more invested in like prioritizing like modern Sentai over Rider, because like I'm like 14 episodes behind on Geats, and I do want to catch up because I remember I was enjoying it, but I'm also just like, I've also seen like the more recent Rider shows, and I'm like, they could just do the thing I don't like again every season, or like go through the motions. But yeah, that
nice.
Talk about this more as the show goes on. It's like obviously still airing, and so but I'm happy to be on board. Next, this past Friday was the 5th day of the 5th month of the 5th year of the Reiwa era.
Oh my fucking... Yeah, right, yes.
Which meant Toei celebrated the anniversary of Kamen Rider Faiz, spelt 555, with the announcement of a sequel movie.
I heard.
And
so everyone losing their minds.
I lost my mind because Faiz is my second favorite Rider show, and in my top 3 Toku shows, period. So I was like, oh fuck yeah, I don't know what the fuck you're gonna do after the ending of Faiz, but I'm here for it.
What is Faiz about? I have not gotten to that one yet.
Okay, so I will give a brief premise because it's going to lead into the thing I'm actually going to talk about that I saw.
I can't believe it's not a Sentai thing. Because it's called 5.
Yeah, because you see, he transforms by he has a cell phone that he puts in his belt and he dials 555 to transform.
Okay.
And then his suit is themed like the letter Phi.
Oh yes, the Greek letter. Yes,
it is.
Greek letter Phi.
There are layers to this. It's basically Phi is about. There's for some reason it's like some people are dying, but when they die, they get reborn kind of as a strange race of creatures called Orphnox, which are like, oh, we are the next evolution of humanity, and we have to turn more of humanity into Orphnox. And there's like a evil corporation called Smart Brain, which is all about like getting the Orphnox to like do the thing where they try and kill people and turn them on towards their side. But not all of them are like that. And so the corporation's like, we have a coercive apparatus to force the people who don't cooperate to go kill people, basically. And there's a bit of a bait and switch where like the first episode's about a guy called Kiba Yuji who like dies but then comes back as an Orphnox and like sees like, oh no, I died and came back and my perfect life is gone and ruined and I lose my mind and flip out, but now I'm like, I feel bad about killing everyone I knew. And he sort of like tries to be like the friendly Orphnox who's like, I just want to be peaceful and I want to live with humans coexistingly. And meanwhile, the actual protagonist is like a guy called Inoue Takemi, who's just like this loner who's really standoffish and flippant and doesn't really know what he's living for or believing in, but he does kind of feel like, even though he doesn't have any, there's a famous line in like episode 6 where he's like, I don't have any dreams, but I can fight for other people's dreams. So he's sort of like, he ends up with the Faiz belt and uses it to fight, the Orphnox who are like rampaging. And there's sort of like, it is written by Toshiki Inoue, and if you've know anything about like Dawn Brothers, he's a big fan of people not knowing each other's identities. In Dawn Brothers, that's played for comedy, but Faiz is played for drama. With extreme irony, the degree of miscommunication based around a show where everyone transforms using cell phones. There's
looking at that phone.
This Faiz suit is one of my favorites. The secondary is a guy called Kusaka, who extremely just sucks in a way, and most other secondary riders don't. Like, usually second riders are like standoffish rivals, who are just like, they're on the same side, but like, they used to like still like heroic, and eventually come together. Kusaka just is a bastard. And he's just like out here to ruin Takemi's life because he's just like jealous and grossly possessive of like their female friend Mari. He does at one point while in the rain, just in anguish, say to Takemi, quoting Char's line, "Mari is someone who could be a mother to me."
Fantastic.
And yeah, there's like things, I'm not gonna spoil the end of Faiz, but like, things go crazy with like shifting alliances. It is a show where like the belts exchange hands multiple times, and people's like motivations change depending on context. Takumi and Yuji become like good friends, but also in their alter ego forms they are rivals and like antagonists to each other, and they're always fighting, and it's sort of like they don't know who the other one is. and stuff like that. And then Kusaka just like, I don't want these two to get along, so I'm gonna deliberately make sure they always hate each other. So
Perfect.
I do love that show a lot. It's definitely a show where like the theme is like traumatized people who go through tragedies have difficulty like communicating, and that can like lead to greater tragedies as a result. That's sort of like a recurring part of the show. And so with that in mind, I really like the show, but I never saw the movie for it. So I decided to spend Faiz Day watching that movie called Kamen Rider Faiz Paradise Lost.
Oh my fucking god.
Not as good of a title as Kamen Rider Kabuto Godspeed Love, my personal favorite.
I do need to see Godspeed Love at some point.
That movie is insane.
But yeah, Paradise Lost is like, and it is a show. It aired halfway in the show's run, and so does the thing that a lot of these movies do in that era, where they were like modern Rider movies usually end near the end of a show's run, and they can usually be a little more like, hey, this is situated in like in the show's late game. This is like a lot of the shows in like the 2000s were like, this is halfway through the show's run. This is an AU, I guess. An AU alternate ending. And so there's one of those where like, there's in the future, there's an alternate world where like the Smart Brain won, and like most of the world is Orphanox, and you have like the human resistance. And Takumi is missing. Until he, you know how it is. He's missing. He's there with amnesia, but then he gets amnesia halfway through the movie, etc., etc. One of the major characters does just beef it 1/3 of the way through the movie to one of the original movie writers, who is a guy who does not speak Japanese, and so he is just speaking English the entire time.
Nice.
It's interesting as like it's not like it's a cool movie. It's not like amazing. Definitely like weaker than the show, but like it is a movie. It does kind of go over like in a condensed way a lot of the similar plot beats that the end game of the show that had not happened yet would get to, but just in an alternate context. So it does have like one character like going through like a heel turn, one character's identity being revealed, Faiz's ultimate form being like revealed with fanfare because it is technically its debut before it showed up in the show itself. There's some cool fights. It is interesting just having having an interesting like alternate perspective of the characters, where they're like in like a quote dystopian, they're trying to rise up against like the evil empire kind of situation. Though it does kind of end with kind of an open ending where it's like, well, what are we going to do now? A lot of the themes of like miscommunication go over, where like the human resistance has a lot of like internal squabbling that creates a lot of problems, especially because like they're extremely hostile to even like Yuji's faction, who is like the nice Orphanox. Because in this setting, like since the Orphanox are like the standard, instead it's not like the secret war. It's a lot more like the identities are known, which is like another interesting spin on things. But yeah, it was just it's kind of it's one of the things like it's just kind of appreciated. Like, oh yeah, it's nice to see the characters again. Didn't blow me away. Is one of those things where I feel like you definitely need to have seen at least some of the show to know what the fuck.
Right.
Because it's not like they introduce you to the characters or anything. That's kind of standard for these kind of movies. They're like, oh, the people going to watch this are the kids who are watching this on TV right now. So like they expect you to know the characters. It does feel weird because like it is an alternate AU movie that like aired before it aired halfway into the show, but like it does technically spoil some plot directions by like doing them, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe you should watch this after you watch the show, but
right.
It's weird. Toku movies are weird like that sometimes. But yeah, it was just fun. It just felt nice to revisit the show on like it's the day to commemorate like its 20th anniversary. Like I'm pretty sure the show started airing like earlier the year than that, but 555. So
I think I I think I realized I have a thing with this show that I had with Ultraman Taiga and Ultraman Tiga, where I think in my head I've been conflating Kamen Rider Forze with Kamen Rider Faiz.
Incidentally, Force is my favorite rider show. But the also funny that like in Geo the send-off show to the Heisei era of riders, which was like doing a tribute anniversary season, they smashed the Force and Faiz arc into the same arc by coincidence.
Nice.
But yeah, I just want to note the new Faiz movie is called Paradise Regained.
Absolute geniuses.
Yes, big brained. It is to be clear a sequel to the show and not to the movie, but you know
Yeah, I was about to ask. That seems like it's a sequel to the.
They did the thing because it would be Kino.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, they bring back a lot of the same actors and characters and the writings team, so you know that's cool. Sadly, Yuji's actor cannot come because he died in 2015 due to illness. But you know,
R.I.P.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Another thing I'm going to go over quickly. I watched the 5-episode 1993 OVA, My Goddess, because of the beach house coming up.
What is that?
It's about a guy named Keiichi who's in college, and he gets a goddess to come through the help hotline, and the goddess is like, I'll give you a wish, and I think he's just like, can I have a girlfriend, as a joke, and then she becomes his girlfriend. And I don't know what to think of this one, because it is a 5-episode OVA of a manga that is extremely doing condensed greatest hits plot beats.
Right.
And so I'm just like, I feel like the main character Keiichi and like the main girl Belle Dandy are nice.
Her name is Belle Dandy.
Yes. Yeah, she sure is. They're nice, but they're also not necessarily remarkable. And then the side characters are more fun. Like I really like Keiichi's sister Megami, who's like, you know, just she's just cool and a tease, and she makes good faces. Then there's both of Belle Dandy's sisters, who are also goddesses, who come. There's like Erd, who's like a big flirt who does flirt with Keiichi, but her goal or intentions are she just extremely wants to be a good wingman to him. She's like, please do be more forward with my sister who is your girlfriend. Please do. This is kind of lame the way you're just being a coward. And then there's also like Skald, who's the younger sister, who's like jealous of Keiichi for taking her sister away, etc. And she's like she's got a hammer, and she's good with machines, I guess. I don't know. There's like 5 episodes. I don't have a lot to go off of. There's like a bike race in one of the episodes, because I guess Keiichi's in the motorcycle club with his sister or something. There's 2 guys who are like his senpais or something. I don't know. I feel like I don't have a lot to go off of here, and I feel like there's stuff I could theoretically enjoy, but I don't know if there's enough here for me to enjoy it as it is. And there's a sequel movie which might be cool, but also like there's just like 2000s series that's like a more thorough adaptation that goes for like over 26 episodes. I'm like, maybe that is enjoyable, and maybe a better way to experience it that like actually goes through the characters, but also is like the gamble of like, maybe this didn't click with me because it's too brief for me to latch onto it. But the alternative is I could watch the 26 episode thing and feel like, oh, this is just not interesting to me, and I'm going through 26 episodes of the thing I don't care about.
Me wondering why the beach house isn't covering the manga. Me looking up how long the manga is.
Yeah.
My best friend growing up really liked. I'm pretty sure it was the manga. I remember hearing a lot about My Goddess many years ago, and none of it has stuck with me.
It ran from 1988 to 2014.
Okay.
Jesus.
Okay. Yeah. In comparison, the anime this OVA does go at a clip. Maybe I'll wait and see. about the movie later or something. I don't know. I'll think about it. It's better than Bubblegum Crisis. I'll give it that, but
That's not hard.
yeah, it's not.
Peak Vibes City Show, and that's about it.
Yeah.
I didn't even talk about finishing that because I'm just like, this.
Yeah.
It looks and sounds okay. It evacuated my brain again.
Yeah.
I should get to that other stupid shit in that same universe, though. I bet I won't like it.
There's some actual evil shit.
Yeah,
I read in an episode summary.
Yeah, I remember that. One of the AD police summaries is just reprehensible misogyny.
Oh. Yeah, just the worst thing I've ever read in my life. It was wild.
Yeah. One last thing. I also finished Paper Mario last night.
How was Paper Mario?
Oh, hell yeah.
I really like that game. So when I last talked about it, it was I got to chapter 3, and there's 8 chapters in the game total. And it's it's just nice. I feel like we talked on the mechanic side, we mostly talked about everything there. It's cool just building off that, how the ways it goes. The badge system is cool. Did immediately put on the quick partner swap badge as soon as I got it, and kept it on there because I like Final Fantasy X and being able to change partners on the fly. I feel like there's a lot of varied ideas in the chapters, and they can be pretty fun. Chapter 4 is the Shy Guy's toy box, and so it's fun. You dive into a toy box thing, and there's a cool puzzle where it's you got to find the train that's an actual toy. But if you bring it into the toy box, it's toy size. But if you throw it into the box, then it becomes the regular size. It makes more sense in the game than I'm explaining to it.
That was my favorite area as a kid.
There's a Yoshi's Island. Either you go on a jungle, you go and explore you explore the jungle with Colorado, the archaeologist Koopa, who does wear a pith helmet, and is a terrible husband. He's kind of obnoxious in that chapter, to be honest, but
how I wonder what the ratio is on episodes where we've talked about pith helmets versus episodes where we haven't.
There's at least 4.
Yeah, it's going to be shockingly high.
I hope that it goes down as we get further along into the time.
When we get to Ultraman Pith, it's going to be really...
It's the Ultraman head that's designed like a pith helmet.
Oh no!
I think chapter 6 is maybe the weakest one, because it's just you go to the flower fields, and then the world is designed like a spoke wheel, and you're just doing a bunch of fetch quests along there. The vibes are kind of neat, but just the things you have to do are kind of annoying.
I remember that one being a lot of boring puzzles involving raising and lowering water levels.
There isn't really there's raising water levels in Bowser's castle at the end, but it was for 2 rooms. It's pretty basic. You did have to raise the water level. You'd have to fill the water at a fountain somewhere, but it's mostly just running back and forth across the area a couple times. It's kind of annoying.
Is that the one where the boss is a big smog cloud?
Yes. And it's also,
they revisit that idea for a boss in Thousand Year Door and do it a lot better there.
Okay, yeah. You also get your last partner in that chapter 6 of 8, which has surprised me, and he's a guy who doesn't stick with me because he sure does come late. And I'm just well, you only exist so I can cross spikes. Sorry.
That's how I feel about Naoto in Persona 4.
Yeah.
Just I'm sorry.
It's how I feel it's how I feel about that guy with the helicopter backpack in Dark Cloud.
I've never played.
Oh my god! You know what? I love Dark Cloud. Do not remember that person's name either.
Chapter 7 it takes place in the snow town. Starts off with something I wish the entire chapter was about, where it's it's a penguin murder mystery, but it's kind of a fake out instead. But you do get to go through a really cool mansion castle dungeon where it's a mirror gimmick, and going through it's neat. There's cool stuff there.
Some of the best music in the game is in that area too.
There's some good bits where there's these ghosts who are duplicating, and he's no, I'm the real partner. No, I'm the real partner, believe me. And and then like the final chapter, you go through Bowser's dungeon. It's a cool dungeon where you get to like go through all of the, you get to use all your partner's powers. And then you reach Peach's castle at the top, because like in this game, Bowser lifted Peach's castle up in the air through his own castle. And because like in this game, you spend intermissions between
of the kingdom. Sorry,
KingOhger. A lot of Mario.
Oh, I forgot something. I played this. Whatever, it's fine.
Shut up! They'll get us. You just send the Pinkertons after you.
Yeah. So it's because after each chapter of Paper Mario, you have a little intermission where you get to play as Peach a bit and like do fun things sneaking around the castle. You go into the castle and it's just like, oh yeah, it's like the places you did stuff with as Peach. And so you're like, oh, if there's a toad here, I can use him to heal. Oh, there is this one-up mushroom that I saw as Peach in the library, and I can go get it now as Mario because I can jump. And then you go fight Bowser. And spoilers for the 20-year-old Mario game, I guess. But there is a really cool moment where like, there's been this like little baby star who's been helping Peach and being a liaison between her and Mario, called a Twink, unfortunately named.
I have seen this screenshot.
And there's just like a good moment where like, Mario like beats Bowser's first phase, then like his second phase is like, oh no, Bowser's is invincible, and then you do an intermission where Peach and Twink fight Bowser's like, is it Kamek, or is it like a different, it might be like Kami Koopa or whatever. It's a magic Koopa or something.
Pretty sure it's Kamek.
Yeah, but anyway.
Oh wait, no, it's it's different in Paper Mario.
Yeah. So whoever Bowser's like magic Koopa is
Kami.
Yeah. Kami, they do a fight. It's like unlosable, but still like, oh man, you're doing an actual fight with these two. And then after you do this fight, you can like, now Mario can actually beat Bowser for real. And then you beat him, and then the day is saved. You get a little montage. You get invited to Peach's castle, and then Luigi gets to actually do something in this game besides be passive aggressive at home, and he leads a parade during the credits. And it's just
nice.
It's a good video game. I like this more than Superstar Saga, but also I played Superstar Saga pre-pandemic, to be honest. That's also a good game. One day I will go back and beat Mario RPG to completion, because I've only played a half of it. But also, I'll eventually play Thousand Year Door and Bowser's Inside Story and some other Mario RPGs. But yeah.
Did you fight the ultimate boss in the dojo?
Yes.
That's a fun fight.
Yeah, I use Goombario for that, because him doing like I am going to charge for 4 turns and then do 1 billion damage with the multi-bonk is just fun. I didn't use him for most of the fights, but mostly because being able to bomb everything is very useful for enemy encounters. But
how do you feel about the Virgil of the game, Junior Troopa?
He is very goofy. I do like how you just go beat him and he leave the screen, and chapter 7 you leave the screen, he's just frozen. It's like, well, F to you. Oh,
so I have not played this game since I was very young, but if I'm not mistaken, he just shows up at the end with fucking wings, right? For his final fight.
He does that. He does that like early on too, like in chapter like 6. Between chapter 5 and 6, you ride the whale back to Toad Town, and he's like just got to Yoshi's Island as you're leaving, and so he swims after you, and he's like, oh no, I swam, so I have like only 20 health. My health bar was reduced for this boss fight. But anyway, I'll use my final wing form, and then you beat him, and he's like, I probably could have saved the HP if I used my wing form to get here. The jokes in the game are good. I do like, I do feel like the Toad Town is like more lively, like more stuff happens in it earlier on. Eventually it does this side quests do get reduced to, there's a Koopa who you go around, who's an old man, and you do errands for him. And also there's like a guy doing quizzes, but like, there isn't as much stuff later on to do in town. It is amusing that when you own like the Penguin Town in chapter 7, they're like, oh man, I got a souvenir from Toad Town, the big city. And I'm like, oh yeah, I guess it does have 6 screens compared to every other urban area in this game. But yeah.
God, I've been meaning to like get back to that for a long time, and I almost pulled the trigger on it because you were talking about it. But then it came out that like this seems to be the latest in a long line of Nintendo 64 games getting unofficial PC ports. So I think I might just wait for that to be out.
Yeah. You could just play Superstar Saga though.
Yeah, I don't like the Mario and Luigi games as much.
Yeah,
They're fun.
I liked it when I played it, but also I'm like, I do feel like there's something about Paper Mario that I did enjoy more. I don't know what to put my finger on it. Though I also do like that Mario and Luigi does have Luigi in it.
True. Year of Luigi, never ending.
It's the decade of Luigi.
True. Century.
Ultraman.
Let me tell you about Ultraman.
So I just want to interject first. Like a couple weeks ago, we were like, "Oh man, this is the strongest batch of Ultraman episodes yet." I think it's been surpassed this week.
Yes, I agree.
Yes, same, absolutely. Beginning, opening strong middle, strong end. Episode 16, Science Patrol into space. A rocket built by a man named Otori is making its first voyage. Its destination, Venus. The Science Patrol are on standby in case of emergency, as the rocket's schedule was rushed to beat a race against Iwamoto's own Phoenix rocket. Luckily, there is no disaster, and Ide wants to crack open the champagne, but Muramatsu's a buzzkill. He's like, no, we're going to drink coffee. Hoshino is back. He's upset that Iwamoto's rocket lost the race, but Muramatsu asks him which is the braver and more proper way to live, to take risks on a rocket that will probably work, or to take the time to make sure it definitely works. While Otori is broadcasting video from his spaceship of him eating a meal, first of all, Ide's losing his mind. And second,
making the weirdest noises.
He's just like, oh man, I'm going to pretend to eat too.
Why? Ide, what's going on? Buddy. But also, a strange signal gets mixed into the video. The squad dial into the signal, and it's Baltan. Let's fucking go. Baltan issues a statement saying the survivors of Ultraman's attack have found safe haven on planet R, but they haven't given up on Earth. The Baltans said Otori's... raid. That's a different letter. The Baltans raid Otori's rocket and possess him. His SOS is now bait for the SSSP, and while they come to space to rescue Otori, the real Baltan invasion of Earth can begin. The squad ask Iwamoto for the Phoenix rocket so that they can carry out the rescue, but Iwamoto refuses and offers instead to strap some of his rockets to the back of the VTOL. This works, and Muramatsu, Arashi, and Hayata make the trip to Otori's ship and pick him up. Meanwhile, at home, a blue glowing meteor-looking thing, the Baltan spaceship, arrives. It shoots out hundreds of Baltans, all little mini models. It's great. They fly in like V formation. It's fantastic. Ide dogfights with them using the new gun he's designed, the Mars 133. He somehow sticks it through the windshield of the jet.
Yes.
I have no idea what's happening here. Anyway, Ide's efforts aren't enough. They need Ultraman. Where is Ultraman? In space, the rescued Otori does a proper villain laugh, and the squad in the VTOL crash land on Venus. Otori uses gravity powers to defeat Arashi and then transforms into a giant Baltan. Hayata hits the button, Ultraman appears, and the rematch begins. Now you'll notice I phrased that differently to how I usually do. The Baltan opens some plates on its chest to reveal a mirror that reflects the spacium beam. Ultraman responds by cutting the Baltan in half with the Destructo disc, and then teleporting to Earth to defeat the rest of the Baltans. This takes up lots of energy, teleporting to Earth, by the way, so it shortens his time that he can spend in Ultraman mode.
Allegedly.
Yes. Back on Venus, Muramatsu and Arashi examine the inanimate body of Hayata. They say he's alive, but looks almost soulless. They wonder how they're going to get to Earth when suddenly they see the arrival of the Phoenix rocket. Iwamoto greets Muramatsu and Hoshino watches with a smile in full squad gear. The end. What the fuck, Ultraman? What's... Hi. So we are introducing some debatable... some debate about how the transformation into Ultraman works.
Yeah.
Because it sure seems like this episode is saying like his soul transforms into Ultraman and his body is just there.
But also the other episode.
Yeah, we saw him teleport. So this is a mystery without an answer. I'm glad that we now don't know how it works anymore.
Yeah. I figured he just got back really, really fast, as preposterous as it could possibly be. But I feel really weird about the teleportation stuff in general, because like literally the Baltan's like, if we cause 2 fights to occur at once, Ultraman can only go to one of them. So like regardless, we're gonna win either way. And then suddenly the narrator, after the first Baltan fight, just goes, Ultraman can teleport, it just makes him really tired.
And Goku instant transmission.
Yeah, a lot. Just speaking of Dragon Ball, God, you're right though. That is just a Destructo disc.
I do think it's funny that like the footage of him cutting both Baltans in half is the same footage.
Yes, exactly the same.
I am happy Ultraman has more powers now, but at the same time, I feel like the way they are introduced in these episodes is very convenient for dealing with the problem, but, like, you know, it's a kid's show.
The Baltans are back. Let's go.
They're like, we haven't
love
given
the
up on Earth
Baltans.
because you did genocide us.
Yeah, we haven't given up on... I mean, you know, on the one hand, they haven't given up on Earth. On the other hand, I do support their quest for revenge.
Same. I'm rooting for the Baltans.
It does feel weird, like, the show is implicit, like, the show seems to think that, Ultraman was correct to genocide them, and he does have to finish the job.
Yeah, he's just like, Ultraman hasn't quite committed full genocide yet. He will get there.
Ayata's just, like, indignant, like, I thought I killed them. What the fuck?
It is wild how the first time, and also these were both directed by Iijima, by the way, so like same person in charge, like both this and the last Bolton episode.
I've heard that like whenever there is a Bolton episode in future Ultra stuff, it's this guy.
Oh, interesting. Okay,
that's fantastic.
But it is so funny to me how what little sympathy the show offered to their plight as a species is just gone immediately by the second time they show up. They're on a Skype call laughing maniacally about how they're going to take over Earth. And it's just like, oh, okay, we're these are just stock bad guy now. That's something.
I am perfectly happy with them just being stock bad guys. If only because it just means I don't. Other than the original episode, I just don't really have to think.
Yep.
I'm good. Having to elaborate on just like the difference between Ultraman being a show where it's like, no, we must stop the invaders, being different to when in real life there are actual invaders.
I do think it's very interesting how the juxtaposition between episodes like this and then what we're getting with I'm assuming Jisoji's doing more episodes of this show. We got a lot of episodes left, and people seem to have a lot of thoughts, at least from what I covered last time, about his contribution to the series. Just the dichotomy between this type of alien invasion plot and him being like, oh, humans don't want to coexist with any of these creatures. They just want to deal with the problem out of convenience, and like there's something to dig into there. Is very interesting. I'm curious to see how that dichotomy develops, if it does at all, for the rest of the series.
Yeah, I mean, and when I talked about it a bit in the production history of the show, but like the writers did have disagreements between what the show wanted to be. And that maybe is coming across in some of the episodes where they're just like having different views on like humanity and aliens, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I like the general message that Muramatsu's giving Hoshino. It's not really Otori's fault that he got attacked by aliens. He didn't make the rocket bad in the end. Like, the rocket didn't actually fail in any way. Which, like, if they had done, and I realize, they could probably do this uncontroversially back then because, like, shit like Challenger hadn't happened. If they had done some shit where the rocket didn't work and just kind of exploded at some point, that could have maybe hammered home the point a bit. But otherwise, I just, this is a cool episode. The whole thing with, like, the mini Boltons being, like, thrown out dozens at a time from that spaceship, and just there's a lot of reuse of the episode where the refinery was under attack, where they just use shots of refinery stuff exploding in place of houses and things. Because, fair play, they blew their budget on that because it was a really expensive episode, I imagine.
Yeah, I mean, it looks good. I'm not gonna lie, the Jet VTOL and the mini Boltons having an incredible dogfight sequence made me go, oh, I should really get around to Ace Combat.
There should be an Ace Combat about this.
The thing is, everyone should get around to Ace Combat. Ace Combat is so good.
I'll be honest, there's a part of me that's like, you could make an Ace Combat game about Ultraman. To be honest, you could. I've been thinking this for like years.
They made one about Skycrawlers. Anything's possible.
The thing is, start a sentence going, you could make an Ace Combat about X is how we got near.
You know what?
That is true.
Yeah, that's true. By the way, that last rocket at the end is not aerodynamic.
It is not. It does have a nice way of landing though. It's got like weird like Naboo spaceship spikes on the bottom.
Also, I very much enjoy their interpretation of Venus.
You can just go out there.
Yeah,
you don't need a helmet. It's just a Star Trek planet.
Yeah. More on whether or not you need a helmet later this episode.
Do we have anything else about episode 16 of Ultraman?
Nope. It was another Iijima one who, again, was the person who has done episodes such as the... Oh, Jesus, I lost my place here. Hold on. Defeat Gomez, SOS Mount Fuji, previous Baltan episode, Rainbow's Egg, Super Underground Express Goes West, your challenge from the year 2020.
So he's got some misses in there, but when he hits, he hits.
Yeah. I think both the Baltan episodes are hits for me.
I can see a through line between Kemmer and the Boltons, and I like it.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think we noted that definitely. Last time, too. There's like, definitely, like, he has a look for the creepy alien that I think is very strong.
Just happy to see the Boltons again. We were like, oh man, there's so many Boltons. We could have return episodes. No, they got genocide. Actually, they're back.
Yeah, you didn't get all of them, you son of a bitch.
I do enjoy how they're like, oh, we have anti-spacium beam, like, tech now, and it's literally just the tiniest mirror device on the chest that, like...
I really hope Ultraman shoots me directly in the chest and
how,
nowhere else.
I like how Ultraman's perspective of, you can deflect beams, is to get a buzzsaw, like it's IBO or something.
Yeah. It's really funny the way that it cuts the Boltan in half, because the Boltan's leapt at Ultraman and it's just head first and then down bisects him, and it's just so funny the way he just splits apart and falls.
I also like how the first one, okay, we're just gonna cut this one in half. The second one, I'm gonna cut it in half and then Spacium Beam and blow up both halves.
Just to be sure.
He's just like, I need to finish this show.
I can't believe I left this kind of mess behind. Never again.
Do we think we get a third Baltan episode? We've never had a third, like, Monster
we did
Hunter.
Toddler's Pegala.
True.
I hope so. I hope we get more. I hope we get more Baltan.
I would like one more Baltan episode before the show is over.
That'd be cool.
Because as we've learned, the episodes where the aliens speak are really cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would segue into episode 18, but we have episode 17 to cover first.
Yes.
Which is also good. Episode 17 is called Passport to Infinity. A man called Sir Yesterday taps a blue rock with a hammer, and the rock kidnaps him and takes him to the fourth dimension. A strong opening to an episode. The squad investigates Yesterday's disappearance and finds out he must have secretly acquired a meteor from a desert he visited recently. Ide and Arashi conclude someone must be after the meteorite. They investigate. They're wrong, but, that's a sensible deduction. But they are wrong, unfortunately. They investigate Sir Yesterday's residence and discover the meteorite is gone too. Outside, Yesterday is returned to our world and wakes up yelling, "Fukui, danger!" Which is my reaction to the possibility of a Moon Gundam anime. Ide and Arashi find out Fukui is a friend of Yesterday, and Yesterday gave him a similar meteorite as a gift. Arashi hurries to Fukui. Meanwhile, the blue meteorite is found in the road by a guy called Professor Kawaguchi, who takes it back to his lab. In the middle of testing, the lab is transported to the fourth dimension, and the squad is called in to help. Arashi, meanwhile, has retrieved a red meteorite from Fukui and brought it back to base for safekeeping. Hayata and Muramatsu arrive at the lab, which has been returned to our dimension. They rescue Kawaguchi, retrieve the blue meteorite, which they stash back at base alongside the red one. So that's the current state of things. We've got the blue meteorite and the red meteorite in one place. The squad says, well, the problem must be happening because the rocks were separated, and now they're together. Everything will be fine. Meanwhile, so Yesterday explains to Hoshino that the two rocks should not be put together because terrible things will happen. In hospital, Kawaguchi explains the same thing to Hayata, that if nuclear fusion occurs, it could create a giant monster. Back at base, Hoshino tells Fuji they should separate the rocks, and she escorts him outside because he's being a nuisance. Once they get outside, the weird factor increases dramatically as the rocks transform into a giant blue and red heart. But specifically,
this thing looks so fucking cool.
It does.
Really
it looks like the kind of heart that, like, the main character, the player characters in Warframe. You know what they look like, kind of.
A bit.
Kind of.
It looks like if you pulled the heart out of one of them, this would be the heart.
I enjoy. There's like a blue and red gradient thing going on too that makes it look very alien in a way I appreciate.
It's got like wires sticking out of his tentacles that look like egg whiskers.
Yes. So it has like a bunch of like appendages that come out of the tubes that would be attached to like the arteries and veins and stuff. Instead they come out and they're like you said, they're like egg whisks. They're like little microphones. They're like little antennas that function as very. We'll get into it. So yeah, what was I? It rests outside the base. Gradually, apparently, they say it's sucking the base into the fourth dimension. Inside, everything has gone fucking mental. Muramatsu, Arashi, and Ide have a wild time trying to escape. Muramatsu and Arashi are together. Ide is with a couple of civilians. And everyone spends their time like walking through doors to find themselves on the ceiling, walking upstairs to find themselves in a strange field, running through walls, like running along corridors, finding themselves outside. And eventually, through concentrated effort, they all manage to make it back to the room they started in, except now the only thing that has changed is Ide has a bin on his head.
Because he jumped off a cliff and landed head first into a bucket.
Yeah, I do want to zoom in on the incredible Ide behavior going on in this sequence.
Absolutely incredible, fantastic stuff happening with Ide in this episode. He's just like not having a good day, which means I'm having a good day.
So the bin thing is funny, but there is a bit where they're running up a staircase and then they get teleported to a staircase that is outside that leads to the sky and just like cuts off past a point. And first of all, they speed up footage of Ide running on the staircase, which is very funny. But also, too, I just wanted to point out, I'm a sucker for a good background matte painting. And the painting that they have in the background here for the staircase that like just cuts off to the sky looks really good. I appreciated that a lot.
Yeah. Also of note, as much as this stuff is all funny, it's also incredibly cool. It's really cool stuff.
A lot of like stalker roadside picnic vibes to this.
Mm-hmm.
With just like this area ain't right.
Right. Yeah. Outside, the SDF is having a rough time. The giant heart keeps fucking with them and then blowing them up, like when it switches the fighters and tanks so that the planes are sliding along the ground and the tanks are flying through the air, and then both of them explode. Hayata, who arrived to pick up Fuji and Hoshino and take them to safety earlier, now jumps out of the car and runs a very short distance to transform into Ultraman. Ultraman's fight with this giant heart is not the usual fight. The heart keeps emitting these mechanical appendages like antennae that do things like they freeze Ultraman, they slow Ultraman, they spin Ultraman, they twirl Ultraman, two different things.
There's Ancient Ultraman, there's a scene where like Ultraman just eye poses and spins, and it's like, oh, it's a weird alien effect, but in this one it's just because the heart is
from this episode.
Yeah.
Kind of. The alien just like spins him head over heels and then twirls him in place, and then sends Ultraman to the fourth dimension, etc. Eventually, Ultraman finally gets off a couple of shots of the Spacian beam, and the heart shrinks back to a manageable size. Ultraman picks it up, crushes it in his palm, and flies away. Fuji and Hoshino find the unconscious Hayata. He wakes up and the three return to the base, where the rest of the squad have been prepping for their next attempt to escape the building. And Fuji says that the problem has passed. And they're like, well, someone beat the monster? And Hayata says, yeah, it was me. And then Hoshino says, and then he says, oh, no, I'm joking. And Hoshino's like, hey, it was Ultraman. And I'm like, Hayata, bro, don't do that.
He's just having fun. He's
great. This is like his one character is being smug about the fact that he's Ultraman and no one knows, and
yes,
it's good. So Muramatsu decides to reward Hoshino for saving Hayata. What is his reward? The full SSSP mission suit that we saw him wearing last episode. The end. I wonder if there was some production.
Oh my god,
stuff happening here.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah. Very funny to me that like, the episode is like Hayata just like runs forward to transform.
Yeah, and then, he doesn't make any effort to hide behind anything.
And then later they find him, and then I was just like, it's kind of embarrassing for you to faint after running like that.
It's so funny. This new twist where it's possible that Hayata is hitting the button and just falling over while Ultraman appears somewhere else is really funny.
I like how we've wrapped around from we don't know how he gets back at the end of the episode to we're not entirely like we have an explanation for that. We're all clear on that now.
We have two competing explanations.
Yeah, for how he gets in the first place is very funny.
I wonder if like the changing from the first 13 to the second 13, they just like changed the plan, or the writers had different ideas.
Mm-hmm. It's possible. Either way, it's very funny. Yeah, everything with fucking with the fourth dimension in this episode is really cool. There's the moment where the professor's assistant like goes back into the room, opens it, and it's been transported somewhere else, and it's just opens the door into the weirdest space. Where there's like weird like rock formations and everything.
Yeah, the assistant gets transported to the moon, and meanwhile the professor is transported to the pan-dimensional train from the end of Ultra Q.
Yes, yes. They're doing they're doing the slanty camera thing again.
You get a lot of these like spatial like weirdness type things, and like a lot of like especially like a lot of like shonen manga. Like Chainsaw Man does this, JoJo's does this quite a bit. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if I've quite seen anything do what Cap does at one point, where he just points at a wall. He goes, "What the fuck happens if we just break down this wall? Let's just try it." and it works.
It's like Arashi, we're gonna run at this wall. It's gonna work. Why is it gonna work? It just is. Shut up. Do it. You're not the smart one.
Clearly doing, like, walking through, like, the normal architecture is not working. We're just gonna see what happens when we break through into this other room.
It's pretty good.
I'm appreciating that on 3 separate occasions, Ultra Series has asked what if there was a weird rock, and it's come up with different answers.
Yeah. More weird rocks are good.
Unfortunately, the first of those was Mount Fuji SOS. But
yeah, the weird rock was
that's four then.
Problem. What? I thought.
What's the third? What's
the other?
The Garadama brain, or the Garamon.
Oh, you're right. I forgot.
That's what I thought you were talking about with the first one. But yeah, we were at 4 weird rocks.
The Garadama brain is such a cool weird rock.
It is a very cool rock.
See, it's funny because as soon as Mr. Yesterday,
Mr. Yesterday,
like it just starts with the rock floating and him freaking out. I was immediately like, oh, it's like the Garamon episode.
It is funny that the official subs call it Yesterday, but no, they are clearly saying yesterday here.
I also think there is a typo where they do just write out yesterday early on. I think they fucked up in one instance. I could have... Maybe my brain did that thing where you just fill in, but...
Not that I would ever commit crimes, officer, but my subs do just say yesterday.
I looked it up to be sure, and yeah, like basically all the wiki stuff calls me yesterday and stuff, so...
Yeah.
Real Dunbine situation going. Nothing's as bad as Dunbine.
I can't even remember what's up with like Rimmel's official translation.
Oh, the Rimmel stuff. Okay.
Yeah, the Blu-ray subs. The Blu-ray subs for Dunbine are just ridiculous.
You said the phrase "nothing is worse than Dunbine," and my whole worldview shook.
Oh no, big Dun. I have been a Dunbine fan for many years.
Yeah, I know. I was confused.
I am eating popcorn off to the sides, waiting for people to watch the goddamn last few episodes of this show. Just so excited.
Oh man, I can't wait for the end of Dunbine. For similar reasons, I can't wait for the end of Seed Destiny. No, different reasons.
I have been eating popcorn, waiting for people to get through Seed Destiny, but in like a Schadenfreude way. I mean, I am the one sicko who's like, yeah, Seed Destiny's so bad, I had a great time. This is the consequence of watching things at like 1.5 speed in the space of a week.
I can be honest, I watched Seed Destiny episodes at like ×3 speed now.
Nice.
What if before I watched Cross-Ange, I watched all of Seed and Seed Destiny again?
No, why would you do that? Don't do that.
Because I have a problem.
There is limited time in our lives. This is outreach. Do not do this.
You could watch
for your own sake.
You could be watching Dawn.
I've never seen the HD versions of the show.
You don't need to.
No one should. I've seen what they look like. I mean, no one should
Seed
see what
is
Seed
currently
and
on
Seed Destiny.
Gundam Info for free.
No, you were having intervention?
It's not for free. The price is watching Seed.
that does have a soul toll on you.
This is like the devil offering you things for free. It's not free.
Yeah. You know, maybe I need a big brother to make good life decisions for me.
Let me tell you about episode 18 of Ultraman. I think that's our best segue so far. Brother from Another Planet, which is a great title.
Same. That's me for real.
A bizarre radioactive. So first of all, a lot happens in this episode. So my summary is I don't know if it's good or not, but it's thorough. A bizarre radioactive fog descends on Tokyo, and Hoshino is disappointed to be stuck at home with the woman. The dynamic continues to suck. I have long since given up hope that Fuji will do anything cool.
Yeah.
Out in the field, Ide and Arashi bump into a little guy in an overcoat and a hat.
I want to pause here. Watching this and seeing Trenchcoat Alien Man run past, my brain broke. I've just been having such a good time with the Ultraman shit that we've been going through that I was like, oh yeah, at some point we have to get to the stuff that was in Shin Ultraman. Like, I had completely forgotten that these friends were waiting for us eventually at some point during the run of this show.
Yeah. It's Zara.
It was a pleasant little surprise.
He makes, so, you know, I might put in some discussion because I have some thoughts about Shin Ultraman. I'll try not to spoil things, but you know, there's some interesting stuff in terms of like where the plot of Shin Ultraman comes from. So Zara makes contact with the SSSP, sending his consciousness directly to their computer through
also
Arashi's
just like
communicator.
climbing on backwards in a wall before Arashi just shoots him.
Yeah, Arashi
in the dick.
Arashi does shoot him in the dick
with the spider shot.
It is important that is with the spider shot.
Yeah. Zarab says that Zarab means brother, and that all living things are siblings to him, and he comes from the planet Zarab, or something like that. And so he is a Zarab instead of just Zarab, but because these are also characters, he's just called Zarab. Same with Baltan. Yeah. Baltan is Baltan.
I'm so happy that I enjoy that apparently humans are the one that haven't done this. We're not all just called Earth.
Go to an alien planet saying, I'm Earth.
From Earth. Along with all of the other Earths.
Like an idiom. Oh, our planet's
I was
Earth.
about to say the idiom problem where you meet the aliens that are like, oh, we're also Earth. Because obviously we called our home planet Earth because it's made of Earth. So, as a gesture of goodwill, that he considers himself to be humanity's older brother, as a gesture of goodwill, he brought the Wayward Saturn mission back to Earth's orbit because it managed to miss and was going to just be floating in space. He also offers to lift the fog, and Hoshino is immediately like, now wait a second, did you put the fog there? The SSSP tentatively accepts the proposal, and Zarab makes the fog disappear. Zarab is welcomed into the base and offered a room to sleep in. The first thing he does is mind control Ide.
Not a lot there to control.
Listen, he's an inventor. He did build that gun.
True.
That he stuck through a window.
True.
He's somehow stuck through a window. At a top secret meeting, the squad presents what they've learnt about Zarab, and the officials debate what to do about him. At the base, Zarab transforms into Fuji, gives Arashi coffee, which is drugged, and he falls on the floor, and Zarab transforms out of Fuji mode and now listens to the meeting through Ide's communicator, Hayata notices that the communicator is on and tells Ide to turn it off. He does. Then he attempts to sneakily turn it back on while Hayata is looking straight at him. It's so funny. Back at base, Hayata has Ide's brain inspected, which is the single greatest sentence I've ever written for this show.
Hayata does drop a line like, Ide, you're better than... You know that this isn't... Come on, what's happening, man?
What's happening with you? They find in Ide's brain, they find signs of hypnosis, and they say he might need some electroshock therapy, and immediately press the button to start zapping his head. In the control room, Muramatsu is arguing with officials who have come to collect Zarab and take him to the space department. He says that Zarab can only communicate through the SSSP computer, which has Ide's universal translator installed. Zarab enters the room with his own portable translator, which is big, by the way. It's like a big portable. And the main computer...
It's a fucking boombox. He's about to drop some jams on us.
Yeah. And the main computer begins Star Trek sparking, and Zarab's like, oops, sorry, I probably shouldn't have brought my computer so close to yours. This just happens. Oh well, I'm going to the space department. Bye.
I love this man so much.
He's so good. Hayata thinks this is all very weird and decides to investigate the Saturn mission that's still in orbit. He goes up in the space-worthy VTOL, puts on his normal suit.
Which is just like a helmet over his uniform.
It's just a helmet over his uniform. And floats over to the spaceship.
So I need to stress what happens here. He puts on like a rocket jet too. He opens the door to the VTOL, which does not have an airlock, and he just goes over while leaving the door open.
He does do that. He doesn't have an airlock.
He doesn't have an airlock. He does, when he comes back, just close the door and take off the helmet as if there is still air in there, which there shouldn't be.
Quest pariah moment.
It's so good. This show knows everything about space. Everything there is to know about space and dinosaurs. Hayata looks in through the porthole of the Saturn mission and sees Zarab mind-controlling the astronauts. Hayata returns to the VTOL and goes to head back. But in a shot that Hideaki Anno literally just stole and put in his movie, Zarab is already on board and stops him. Zarab knows. It's the bit where...
Yeah. So I just want to say, Anno steals it by having, in Shin Ultraman, Zarab confronts Hayata, well, not Hayata, whoever the other guy is, Shinji? I don't know, in his car. And that's where the confrontation happens. Here, it's cooler because he's in his spaceship. His is in space.
He's stuck.
I feel like this may be a difference in taste. I think it's infinitely funnier that this happens in Alexis and Shin Ultraman. It's so stupid in comparison.
It's so fun. Well, we'll get into some Shin Ultraman stuff because so Zarab knows that Hayata is Ultraman, and kidnaps him, teleporting them both back to Earth and sending the VTOL to crash to make it seem like Hayata's just fucking dead. Then the squad receives news that Ultraman has appeared and has begun attacking Tokyo. Excuse me. Zarab enters an emergency meeting and is like, damn, seems like Ultraman wants to take over Earth and the SSSP are helping him. In another room, he has Hayata tied up in special constricting bonds made of a material that will get tighter the more he struggles. Hayata doesn't
Every piece of fiction does this, where it's like, it'll only get tighter if you struggle. Is this a real thing? Does anything work like this in real life? It shows up so often, and I've always wondered.
I suspect it does not exist in real life. I think writers are always showing off that they are into BDSM at all times.
Yeah.
Where was I?
The Hayata bondage.
I'm more like looking with my eyes to find where on the page I am. But yes, thank you. The Hayata bondage is where I was. Yes, Hayata doesn't have the beta capsule, and Zarab is content to leave him like that while he goes rampaging in disguise as Ultraman. Hoshino sneaks in and finds Hayata, and it turns out he brought the beta capsule with him, not knowing what it is, but knowing that Hayata always keeps it on him, and so it must be important. Which is really, really good.
Yeah.
He can't cut Hayata's bonds and begins to cry, and the tears react with the material the bonds are made of, and they melt and snap open with ease. Hayata tells Hoshino to run, but the fake Ultraman grabs him as he dangles from a rope out the window. Hayata transforms into the real Ultraman and saves Hoshino. The fight begins for real, and eventually the fake Ultraman is revealed to be Zarab in disguise. Ultraman hits Zarab with the spacing beam, and the battle is won. Hoshino remarks that Ultraman really is a hero of justice after all. The end. I'm really glad that we got Zarab in the show, and it was really good.
Yeah.
Yes, I think this is my new favorite episode of the show.
I think it's my favorite too. I thought
fantastic.
I thought the previous Bolton episode was, and then I got to this one.
It's just a fan. So much happens in this episode.
Yeah, it's got that Tomino pacing.
Yeah, it's brilliant. The Zarab being just this kind of this charming little guy who's just like, I'm just your big brother. I'm just here to help. Is a very good act.
Something that a friend told me about that I'm happy I can now like see this and look at and be like, oh yeah, I can see it. The Zagak from Gundam is a like design wise reference to Zarab.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
That makes sense.
I can picture it in my head. Let me look at this image right now.
I can see it now.
Absolutely.
Because also too, it's one of those things where I feel like when the people think of the Zagak, they think of like the red one that Char has, or like that kind of like salmon pink one.
The standard one
is just blue and kind of has that grayish tone that Zarab also shares.
Yeah, that's cool. That is cool. So like I said, I don't really want to like spoil Shin Ultraman stuff, but if you know anything about Hideaki Anno's movies with like Shin Godzilla and stuff, apparently he'd be talking about America and Japan and the relationship between them, and it was interesting to see kind of that coming through from this episode in terms of the dynamics between like Zarab and Japan in this episode, with like, we're your big brother. We'll clean up the things that are causing problems with you. Did we put them there in the first place? I don't know. Who could say?
What do you mean the big brother put the radioactive fog in?
Yeah. And so it was interesting to see kind of where that comes from in terms of, and then Shin Ultraman kind of gets into it a little bit weirdly because of how which isn't to say that this show doesn't get into it weirdly, but Shin Ultraman has its own, like, Hideaki Anno has his own spin on this thing where it's like the union between the Japanese national spirit and the American national spirit will save the day. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? What is going on in your brain? But this episode's like more like pure just this guy's fucking with us and we should get rid of him. Which is like, I'm if I stopped watching shows from Japan that maybe dealt with some nationalist theming, I wouldn't watch many shows from Japan. But I do think this episode is really good. As just an episode of television.
Very strong, very strong. This was written by, this was directed by Nonagase, who, again, is the Pegula person, also Garamon Strikes Back, Balloonga, and Statue of Goga,
Oh,
but then
of
also
course
unfortunately Fury also Fury of the South Sea.
Yeah, but of course it's the Garamond Strikes Back person.
Yes.
Yeah, makes
That's
sense.
cool.
I forget, did we talk about who the writer-director for episode 17 was?
It was also Ijima.
Okay.
For the director. I need to start looking at the writer stuff. I've been bad about that. But
Kamen Rider. Yeah, I just think this episode is good. I like Zarab. He's good. I'm looking because the Zarab episode was good, and because most of this plot kind of wound up in Shin Ultraman intact. That does mean I'm really looking forward to Mephiles.
Same.
I'm just wondering how they'll portray Mephiles, like how he'll be, because I'm just like, there's an energy to him in Shin Ultraman that's just like, he's like a.
It can't have come from this show.
Yeah, he's like a tech bro almost, like corporate double speak platitude guy, and I'm just like, what's that going to be like in the '60s context?
Yeah.
Zarab was pretty close, but I feel like that's a lot easier to make close, considering he's just like two-faced, like manipulator villain type, whereas Mephiles and Shin has a very specific energy that feels like it wouldn't necessarily gel with this show, so I'm curious what they do with him.
Hoshino sure does get to do stuff when Fuji doesn't.
Yeah.
This is true.
SSSP recruiting a child soldier. Ishinomori further smiles.
He's just furiously taking notes for when his show gets to debut in like a couple of years.
Oh man, Fuji just being like babysitter, like not just babysitter for Hoshino, but like annoying babysitter that gets in the way is like, it sucks. Like
Yeah.
when he's like, oh, we have to separate the rocks, and she's like, you're being a bother. I'm going to get you out of the building. You're the worst. And it's like, I don't like this.
And especially, like, it annoys me further because I feel like this show has actually been pretty good the past few stretches of episodes we've watched with, like, highlighting Ide and Arashi's, like, characters in certain ways, too. And it just feels like Fuji is not getting that in a way that's just so frustrating to me.
Yeah. Well, it's a shame. But otherwise, the show's really good.
Yeah.
So
I am starting to look forward to these in the way that I was Ultra Q when I liked it at its peak, which is making me excited, because when we started Ultraman stuff, I was kind of like, yeah, it's all right, but like, I wasn't like super looking forward to watching these or whatever, right? But these last 9 episodes I've enjoyed quite a bit. So
yeah. I have definitely heard of people who started Ultraman and then they're like, you know what? I'm not sure I'm into this. I could see people dropping off, but you
gotta give it that double Zeta stretch.
It turns out you gotta give it that double Zeta stretch.
I'm glad that for the future of this podcast, you're both enjoying.
Ultraman's good. It's official. It's not official until there are way more episodes, but it's official right now, for now.
Yeah, it's all good until the Fury of the South Sea 2 happens.
Well, there needs to be like 3 of those in a row, and then we'll talk.
Yeah.
How many episodes do we even have left? Jeez.
We're almost at the halfway point, right?
Yeah.
Let me see.
Rip waypoint, sorry.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you did. Oh yeah, and we'll cross the halfway point with our next episode.
Nice.
Damn, time flies.
Yeah.
Time flies. Speaking of time flying, this is now a 2+ hour podcast.
Yeah. Speaking of time flying, I do have to do the timers.
Oh yeah. Hit us with the timers.
Yeah. Also found the writer, so I can just throw him in with the timers. Episode 16, the writer was Kitao Senzoku.
I I think that's a screen name, or I think that's a pen name for Ujima.
Okay. That's 2 minutes, 44 seconds.
Yeah, okay, I confirmed it. It's a screen name. I keep saying screen name. Fucking pen name.
Yeah. Episode
I'm too online.
17 is Keisuke Fujikawa. Oh my goodness. Keisuke Fujikawa wrote that episode, and that's a 2 minutes 24 seconds. It says episode 18 is screenplay by both Ryu Minamikawa and Tetsuo Kijino.
The first one of those is a pen name for No Nagase.
Okay. And that one is 2 minutes 18 seconds.
Cool. Alrighty. Well, let me go into first of all, do we have any emails?
Nope.
Okay, we will go straight into plugs. If you want to follow the show, you can do so at ultra_q. That is at ultra_QUEUE. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at gender_redacted. And I'm also at November on co-host, where I promise I will continue to write about RTS games at some point. Who's next?
I'm at Rosenbrand on Twitter. I'm also uploading videos again at my YouTube channel, Rosenbrand. I got more Ultimate Marvel 3 video stuff in the pipeline, along with some other fun things. Earlier this week, the second half of the Tabletop RPG actual play me and my friends did for Halloween of 2022 went up. I am the worst at editing things in a timely manner. I'm so fucking sorry. That being said, if you want a fun trick-or-treating adventure with the worst children who will do literally anything to get candy, it's a good time. More murder happened than I thought when I decided to run that with my friends.
Murder? Damn.
Whoa.
Yeah, I can't say too much because it would ruin the surprise, and I commented on it on the episode, but, like, something happens that with any other group of people I feel like would be like, okay, this is a bad time, and, like, this, you know, there's a social contract being, like, broken here, but it was like, when everyone decided that this would make for a more interesting story and people talking about, sometimes you can break popular, like, I guess I would say, like, convention for double-crossing your fellow players in a way that was very interesting and fun to see everyone have a good time with. So
I would kill for a Mars bar. Although I don't know if... Is Mars bar the one where it's different in America than it is in Britain? I think it's...
No, I think it's Smarties.
There are multiple, but I think a Mars bar in Britain might be I think it might be more like a Milky Way in America.
Oh, okay.
I know in, like, Canada, UK, Smarties is chocolate, and in the US, it's sugar compacted.
Like a sugar chalky, yeah.
It's just sugar?
Yeah, it's like...
You don't have chocolate inside them?
No.
Yeah, Smarties is like M&M's over here.
I love Smarties, or I love American Smarties. And actually, funny enough, my mom's favorite candy bar is a Mars bar.
Nice. Mel.
Hi, my sometimes Twitter account is at Dear Crowns. I have a Twitch, Cosmic_Crown. I did finish Paper Mario, so I'm going to play something else eventually. My co-host, I should email to make my at more easy to say, instead of 2 degrees removed from my Twitter at in the most obnoxious way. But that one's at Dear Crown Camel Case. And we have an email at ultraqpod@gmail.com.
Yeah. Nice. Well, we'll be watching 3 more episodes of Ultraman next week. Hopefully they are as good as this week. It's a tough one to beat. Just straight bangers recently. It's been good. So yeah, we will be covering episode 19, 20, and 21. See you.
Bye.